I think that just trying to put pressure on ways that I know that other people deal with the material. I love Phil's book. It's a great book. I think Will Macken's book is also going to be great, but I don't want to write their books over again. Right. And I think, like, in ways that I see them sort of picking up on veins of literature that are handed down to us from the Vietnam War, which in a way itself goes all the way back to the First World War, and something that was leveled as a criticism towards poets like Wilfred Owen in the years after the war, when they were beginning to make anthologies, and folks like W.B. Yeats were excluding them from certain poetry collections because they felt that passive suffering was not a proper mode for English elegy or poesy, I think was his phrasing. You see that vein kind of pull through 20th century literary fiction about war, an idea that participants are just kind of stuck in it, that the experience is essentially passive. They're against their will, and even when they are a part of something that's atrocious, there's something distant and removed. And I've never really felt comfortable with that, because it wasn't my experience. I felt I had agency, even if, yes, a lot of the time I had to follow orders, or I was just left with no really good decisions in a particular situation. I still felt incumbent on me a responsibility. I still felt like I made decisions. I still felt like I did things, and I have to take both the consequences, good or ill, for what happens. And that includes second and third order effects, stuff that I couldn't foresee, but that just happened as a result anyways. And I always felt like that was sort of missing from a lot of the things that I was reading. I feel like there is a bit of a trend towards correcting that, but I always want to push it just a little bit harder. Right. And for me, like stories like Havoc and other places like that, that's what I'm really interrogating, is this idea of agency and how we turn away from our own agency. In Havoc, because we're part of a collective. When you go to war, you're part of a group of soldiers, and it's really easy to try and fool yourself into thinking that you can just sort of blend in with the crowd and that you're not responsible for what happens. But I think you're fooling yourself, ultimately, if that's what you believe. And I wanted to put some real pressure on that idea or those notions. So yeah, an interrogation of agency, I think, is crucial to what I'm exploring in war fiction.